already know that I don't have 70 centimeters of topsoil, so I will just, take as much as I can get, basically. There are several different options I'm still looking at. Also, I have to kind of make sure I'm not getting killed by these hunters around us. Hi, I'm Scarlett and I'm starting a permaculture project here on the east coast of Mallorca. So follow along as I document the whole process of transforming this derelict piece of land into a food forest. Hi and welcome back. We're here on the property that I will be developing into a permaculture project in the next couple of years. And today we're gonna take our first soil samples to be able to know what we're actually dealing with and how we can amend the soil to grow all our food in the future. And we're also gonna start planting our first succulents that I got as a gift, and that will help to create some kind of a hedge between this property and the next one. Also, I will be talking about the first steps that I will be taking to actually get this project started. But first, let's check on the little pomegranate tree we planted the last time to see how it's doing. Don't worry, it's not wine, it's water. It actually looks quite healthy. It has been raining a couple of times, not too much, but a little bit, so I'm sure that helped. But I'll still water it a little bit more since it's fairly young and it doesn't have an established root system yet. And I'll just take out the weeds surrounding it to make sure it gets all the energy of the compost we put in here. I reached out to various different institutions where you can get your soil tested, and I found one here on the island in Palma, where you can actually just send your soil samples. They tell you more about the components of your soil, how much nitrogen there is, how many microorganisms, down to how acidic your soil is and how much iron and everything. Like you can get a small or a big package depending on how precise you want to know what's in your soil. They also have sent a whole PDF telling me how I have to get the soil samples in order for them to process them that precisely. So I got a plastic bag and a shovel, and we'll start digging different holes. So basically what they were telling me to do in their description is that I have to take at least 3 samples per hectare, and we have 2 hectares of land here, but I'm only gonna plant on about one of them at least. And I have to do like a zigzag of different spots on this hectare of land where I want to plant stuff, and mix all the soil together in one bag, about 1 kilo, and send it to Palma as quickly as possible for them to have accurate results back from the soil test. So let's start digging. vegetables and down to -70 for growing trees. But I already know that I don't have 70 centimeters of topsoil, so I will just, take as much as I can get, basically. So I'll just take like a half shovel from every spot and then zigzag my way down to through the property. Starting this project is quite overwhelming at the beginning. I've been looking for a property for a couple of months, starting this January when I first moved to Mallorca. And I've been looking at over 30 different properties from January to April. And at the beginning it's quite difficult because you don't really know what you're actually looking for. And as more properties that I actually have been looking at, the clearer was my vision of what I'm actually searching, and my budget and my limits, and also all the rules that I need to follow purchasing a property here on Mallorca. There are a lot of rules, and maybe I will make a video about the whole buying a property topic later. But for now I just want to talk about the first steps that I'm going to take to start this project. As soon as I decided on a property and we managed to set on a price, I signed an option contract, which basically means that this property is now reserved for me until the whole process of land bureaucracy is through, and this unfortunately takes quite a while here in Spain. So I'll have to wait a couple of months until I can sign the final contract. So in this moment, this property doesn't really belong to me yet. That's why I'm not really starting any major projects like, cutting down trees or start clearing a pathway to actually, get by more easily. But I do what I can until I can finally sign the final contract. Which is first, like we did, taking the soil samples. I also can check how I'm gonna get water to this property. There are several different options I'm still looking at. Also, I have to kind of make sure I'm not getting killed by these hunters around us. Besides the hunters, there is one other neighbor that could be quite disturbing. Which is the depuradora, the water purification plant, which is very close, and depending on the wind and the amount of sewage that goes through this village or the houses of this village, the odor of the purification plant can become a problem on this property. Behind me you can see the wall, which is the end of the property. And that white building over there is the purification plant of the town, which just treats all the sewage water from all the citizens living here. It is really close by, but right today I can't smell anything. Depending on the wind, where it comes from, you do smell it a little bit on this property. So just here, this is where I am going to start my first food hedge or edible hedge. Personally, the odor never really disturbed me that much until now. I have been on the property several times before I decided on buying it, obviously, because I didn't really know how bad it can get. This year wasn't probably the best sample to really get to know how bad it can get depending on the season, because due to Corona there were never like a full load of tourists in the town, so there was never like a full load of sewage that had to be treated next door. But from what I have smelt, is that the correct past tense of smell? I don't know. As you might be able to tell, English is not my first language, but yes, maybe we can learn English together. Well, the odor was never really bad, or it wasn't enough to be an issue for me so far. But cautious as I am, I will start planting in a hedge between this property, well, at least I mean on my property, because that's what I actually can start doing right now. And the more plants I have between where I'm going to live and where we're going to have workshops and the purification plant, the less wind gets by and the less odor will get through. I'm not gonna start planting trees just now because the contract isn't signed yet, so I'm not gonna start spending money before I definitely know that I can start this project here on this property. But what I can start with is succulents, because they're free. I have prickly pear cactus that I can start growing a hedge with, and also I got a cactus as a gift from my landlord. Muchas gracias, Fulgencio, that I will start planting now, because they will take a while, and I think I will be glad having some more plants there once I start living on the property. I haven't made the final design for the property, so I'm not quite sure where I will plant what, or where the house will go, or anything basically can still change. So yeah. For the hedge, I mean, it's obvious it needs to be as close to the border of the property as possible. And I thought, since they're succulents and, you know, they can get quite high, but they're not very nice to pass through. So I thought it's safe to put them in the very back and just make the first row out of succulents, and then I can add various other edible plants next to them or in front of them in the next line, and then slowly start a food forest going from the back of the property further down to where the living area will be. I have started planting the prickly pears a couple of weeks ago. I mean, planting is maybe an exaggeration. I just took some leaves or petals or whatever you want to call them, and I put them on the ground, just made sure they have contact to the soil, and they grow like weeds here in Mallorca, so I'm not very worried about their survival just yet. These other cactus, I actually don't know the name of them yet, but I can just put them in the video. that's it. I think that should do the trick.